the weight of grudges. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, dark forest. You can feel the weight of the trees leaning over you, their branches heavy with age and secrets. This forest holds many memories, both painful and comforting. Some paths are well-trodden, and others are overgrown and forgotten. Every step into this forest can feel like a journey back to the moments when someone wronged you. You carry those wrongs like stones in your pockets. Each grudge, each hurt, adds weight to your heart. You might think that holding on to these grudges is a way to protect yourself. You believe that by holding on to the anger, you are standing up for yourself. But the truth is, these grudges do not help you. They only drag you down. What if I told you that the best revenge is not to get back at the people who have hurt you? What if the best revenge is actually to be unlike them? The power of rising above hurt is transformative. It allows you to embrace a path of self-mastery rather than seeking vengeance. Let's take a moment to understand what it means to hold a grudge. A grudge is like a thorn in your side. It can irritate you and cause pain. You may think that the person who hurt you is the one in control, but it is actually you who gives them that power. The longer you hold on to your anger, the more it eats away at your peace. Imagine a time when you were wronged. Perhaps someone betrayed your trust. Maybe a friend spoke ill of you behind your back. Each event leaves a mark. You may replay the incident in your mind, wondering, why did they do that? Or, how could they treat me this way? Each time you think about it, the wound reopens. It causes more pain, and you find yourself stuck in that moment. This habit does not lead to healing. Instead, it keeps you anchored in the past. You are not the person you were at that moment. You have changed, yet the grudge remains as if frozen in time. You deserve to move forward. You deserve to shed that weight. Marcus Aurelius, the wise Roman emperor, once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." His words urge us to rise above the actions of others. When someone wrongs you, they hope to draw you into their negativity. They want you to react in anger or to retaliate. By doing so, you lose a part of yourself. Instead of reacting, you can choose to respond with grace. This is not an easy task. It takes practice and time to shift your mindset. It requires you to accept that you cannot control what others do, but you can control how you respond. This is where true power lies. Think about it this way. When you let go of grudges, you create space in your heart. You free yourself from the burden of resentment. You reclaim your energy and focus it on the things that truly matter. You give yourself the opportunity to grow and evolve. Let's step back and consider the impact of resentment on your life. Holding a grudge can cloud your judgment. It can influence your decisions, affecting your relationships with others. This lingering anger can seep into every corner of your life, leaving you feeling bitter and unhappy. It is worth remembering that forgiveness does not mean condoning the actions of the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment. It is about taking back your power. You might wonder how you can start this process. One way is to reflect on the situation. What did you learn from it? How did it shape you? By shifting your focus from the wrong to your own growth, you reclaim your narrative. You take control of the story rather than letting the grievance define you. Consider writing down your thoughts about the situation. Journaling can be a powerful tool for processing feelings. Write about the hurt, but also write about your feelings of strength. Acknowledge your pain, but balance it with gratitude for the lessons learned. As you reflect, remember that everyone makes mistakes. The person who wronged you is human too. They might not even realize the impact of their actions. This understanding does not excuse their behavior, but it allows you to see them as flawed, just like yourself. When you can see the humanity in others, it becomes easier to release the burden of the grudge. You are not ignoring the hurt. Instead, you are choosing to rise above it. You are choosing to live a life that is defined by your values and not by someone else's actions. Now, let's talk about the importance of self-mastery in this process. Self-mastery is about understanding your emotions and controlling your reactions. It is about being mindful of the thoughts that occupy your mind. When hurt arises, take a moment to pause, reflect before reacting. Ask yourself, what is my intention in this moment? This practice can help you to respond from a place of strength and clarity rather than from pain and anger. You create space to choose a different path, a path that leads to healing and peace. As you work through letting go of grudges, remember to be patient with yourself. This is not a quick fix. It is a gradual process built on understanding and compassion. You will have days when the pain resurfaces. That is normal. Acknowledge it, but don't let it control you. Instead, lean into your process of self-discovery. Every small step you take towards healing is a victory. Celebrate these victories, no matter how small they may seem. Each act of forgiveness, each moment of letting go, adds to your strength. In the end, the weight of grudges does not have to be yours to bear. You can choose to lighten your load. You can choose to act with kindness and grace. By doing so, you not only liberate yourself, but also inspire others to do the same. When you let go of anger, you make room for joy. You start to see the world through a clearer lens. You become more present to the beauty around you. You cultivate a deeper connection with yourself and with others. So the next time you find yourself holding onto a grudge, pause. Remember the power of self-mastery. Remember that you have the strength to rise above. Choose to be unlike the one who hurt you. Choose to be a source of compassion rather than anger. In this way, you reclaim your power. You choose freedom over the weight of resentment. And in doing so, you not only heal yourself, but also create a ripple effect that can inspire others to follow a similar path. Let go of the past and embrace the present. The journey ahead is filled with possibilities, and you are the one in charge of your story. Recognizing your own pain. As you embark on this path of self-discovery, it is essential to acknowledge your own pain. This recognition is the first step toward healing. Often we find ourselves entangled in the hurt caused by others. We focus on the actions of those who have wronged us, and in doing so, we can easily neglect our own suffering. Imagine a time when someone's words or actions cut deep into your soul. You felt the sting of betrayal or the weight of disappointment. It is easy to become consumed by the desire for retaliation. You may think of ways to make the other person feel the same pain you experienced. But this approach only traps you in a cycle of hurt. Recognizing your own pain means turning the lens inward. It is about fully understanding how that situation made you feel. Feelings of anger, sadness, and frustration are valid. They are signals that point to something deeper within you. They highlight your needs, your boundaries, and your values. When you dismiss these feelings, you deny an essential part of yourself. Take a moment to sit with your emotions. What do they tell you? Perhaps your anger arises from feeling disrespected or unappreciated. Or maybe the sadness comes from a sense of loss. By taking the time to recognize these feelings, you empower yourself to act. You give yourself the space to choose how you want to respond. Let's consider an example. Picture a close friend who betrayed your trust. Their actions left you feeling isolated and hurt. You might initially want to confront them, to unleash your anger. But instead, pause for a moment. Feel the pain. Acknowledge it. Ask yourself, what is it that I need right now? Your response might be to express your feelings honestly, or it may lead you to seek distance from that person for a while. Understanding your own pain allows you to shift your focus from revenge to self-care. You begin to see that your well-being is more important than the desire for retribution. You can still express your hurt, but now it comes from a place of strength. You are not seeking to harm another. Instead, you are advocating for yourself. This approach is deeply rooted in Stoic principles. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we have the power over our own thoughts and reactions. When we are hurt, it is not the event itself that causes our suffering, but our interpretation of it. By recognizing your own pain, you shift your narrative from victimhood to empowerment. Let's explore this idea further. Imagine you are walking along a path and suddenly trip over a rock. You feel a sharp pain in your ankle. In that moment, you have a choice. You can either let the pain consume you, focusing on the rock and how unfair it is that you stumbled, or you can recognize the pain, care for your ankle, and learn to navigate the path more mindfully in the future. This is how you can approach emotional pain. Instead of allowing it to define you, recognize it, treat it with care, and adjust your course. Each time you encounter hurt, it is an opportunity to understand yourself better. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This simple question opens the door to growth. As you process your own pain, you may also begin to see the pain in others. When someone hurts you, it is likely they are grappling with their own struggles, fears, or insecurities. Recognizing your own pain can lead you to a deeper understanding of theirs. You start to see that we are all carrying wounds. This perspective creates space for empathy. Empathy does not mean you excuse their behavior. Rather, it allows you to separate their actions from your worth. You can choose not to take their hurt personally. You realize that their pain may have driven their actions. This understanding can liberate you from the chains of resentment. Consider the concept of forgiveness. It is not about letting go of the wrongdoing. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself. It is saying, I will not allow this person's actions to define my life. When you forgive, you release your grip on the past. You choose to move forward, taking the lessons learned with you. This does not mean you forget or ignore your pain. Instead, you acknowledge it as part of your journey. There will be moments when the hurt resurfaces. On those days, give yourself permission to feel. Recognize that healing is not linear. It is a winding path filled with ups and downs. When you find yourself reflecting on your pain, create a practice around it. Perhaps you can write in a journal or meditate. Use these moments to explore your feelings, your needs, and your desires for the future. Each time you process your pain, you grow stronger and more resilient. You might also consider talking to someone you trust. Sharing your feelings can lighten the burden. It allows you to verbalize what is often difficult to express. When you speak your truth, you create connections. You may find others who share similar experiences. In this way, pain can foster community rather than isolation. As you recognize your own pain, remember to approach yourself with compassion. You are human, and it is natural to feel hurt. Do not judge yourself for experiencing these emotions. Instead, treat yourself as you would a dear friend. Offer understanding and kindness. In time, as you cultivate this practice of recognition, you will notice a shift. You may no longer seek revenge. Instead, you will seek clarity. You will understand that your path to healing lies in self-mastery. You will choose to rise above anger and resentment. Think of your pain as a teacher. What lessons does it offer? How can it shape you into a stronger version of yourself? Embrace this journey of self-discovery. Your pain does not define you, it refines you. When you choose to recognize and honor your pain, you open the door to healing. You reclaim your power in the process. You no longer allow others to dictate your emotions or your worth. You learn to respond from a place of strength rather than fear. In this way, you become unlike the one who hurt you. You transform from a vessel of anger to a source of compassion. This is the essence of true self-mastery. You cultivate resilience, empathy, and understanding both within yourself and towards others. Ultimately, recognizing your own pain is a powerful step toward a brighter future. It allows you to let go of grudges and free yourself from the past. You embrace the possibility of joy and connection. You become the architect of your own healing journey, choosing to rise above rather than to retaliate. So, take a deep breath and begin this practice today. Acknowledge your pain, learn from it, and allow it to guide you toward a better version of yourself. You have the strength to rise above, to heal, and to inspire others along the way. It starts with recognizing your own pain and transforming it into something meaningful, the nature of true strength. When we think about strength, many of us picture physical power or the ability to dominate others. But true strength has a different nature. It resides not in force, but in control. Control over ourselves, our reactions, and our emotions. Imagine a stormy sea. Waves crash violently, seeking to pull everything into chaos. In the midst of that storm, there stands a lighthouse. It does not fight the waves. It remains steady and solid, illuminating the path for those caught in the tempest. This lighthouse embodies true strength. It does not let the storm dictate its purpose. Instead, it provides guidance and hope. In moments of hurt, we often feel like that stormy sea. Our emotions swirl around us, pushing us toward reactions we may later regret. Anger, resentment, and the desire for revenge can pull us under, drowning us in negativity. Yet, it is in these moments that we have a choice. We can either allow ourselves to be swept away by these emotions, or we can become the lighthouse. When someone hurts us, our instinct might be to lash out. We think vengeance will restore our dignity. However, revenge rarely offers the satisfaction we seek. It often leaves us feeling empty, as if we have painted over our pain with more pain. Instead, consider this: the best revenge is to be unlike the one who hurt you. This concept is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." When we choose to rise above the hurt, we refuse to become the very thing we despise. We find strength in our ability to choose our response. It is essential to recognize that strength is not the absence of pain. Pain is a part of life. It is how we respond to that pain that defines our character. We can allow it to bring us down, or we can let it teach us. Each moment of struggle can become a stepping stone toward greater understanding and resilience. Reflect on the times you have felt wronged. What did you want to do? Did the idea of revenge feel empowering? Did it seem like a way to regain control? Perhaps you imagined confronting the person who hurt you, seeking justice for your pain. Yet think about how that confrontation would play out. Would it truly heal the wound, or would it only deepen it? When we seek revenge, we are often consumed by the desire to hurt back, not realizing that in doing so, we only keep that hurt alive. In contrast, when we choose to focus on self-mastery, we take our power back. We learn that our worth cannot be dictated by another's actions. Consider the story of a well-known figure who experienced profound hurt and betrayal. Nelson Mandela spent years imprisoned for standing up against injustice. Upon his release, he faced the choice of seeking revenge against those who wronged him or choosing a path of reconciliation. Mandela chose the latter. He understood that true strength lies in forgiveness and the willingness to move forward with compassion rather than letting hatred consume him. This choice did not signify weakness. Instead, it demonstrated an unwavering strength of character. Mandela emerged from his ordeal not as a man defined by bitterness, but as a leader who sought to heal a fractured nation. In doing so, he inspired countless others to follow a path of peace over revenge. Now, bring this back to your own life. How can you apply this lesson? When someone wrongs you, pause. Instead of reacting impulsively, breathe deeply. Recognize your emotions, but do not let them control you. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be in the situation. Do you want to mirror the actions of those who have hurt you, or do you want to create a new path defined by understanding and strength? For example, if a colleague undermines you at work, your first instinct might be to retaliate. Yet instead of seeking to ruin their reputation, consider how you can respond with integrity. Speak to them directly, express your feelings, and offer a chance for dialogue. This approach allows you to rise above the situation. You become the lighthouse, illuminating the way rather than adding to the storm. Remember, true strength also involves setting boundaries. It is not about letting others walk all over you. Instead, it's about standing firm in your values while still choosing not to engage in harmful behavior. You may choose to distance yourself from those who continually bring negativity into your life, but do so from a place of clarity, not anger. As you practice this approach, you will notice a shift. Small victories in self-mastery build your strength. Each time you opt for understanding over anger, Each time you choose compassion over revenge, you reinforce the foundation of true strength within you. It can be helpful to visualize your emotions. Picture them as a river flowing through your mind. Sometimes the current is strong and it feels overwhelming. Other times the water flows gently. You cannot control the river's nature, but you can choose how to navigate it. You may decide to build a dam, redirecting the flow rather than letting it sweep you away. This is the essence of self-mastery. You are not alone in this journey. As you strive to rise above hurt, consider the support around you. Seek out those who understand your experience and remind you of your strength. Sharing your struggles can foster connection and community, turning pain into a shared experience rather than an isolating one. As you continue on this path, allow yourself to be gentle with your progress. Self-mastery is a practice, not a destination. There will be days when you feel strong and capable, and others when the urge to seek revenge might resurface. In those moments, return to your breath. Return to the image of the lighthouse. In closing, remember, the nature of true strength lies not in the pursuit of revenge, but in the commitment to be unlike those who have hurt us. Each choice you make to respond with grace and understanding builds the foundation of your character. It is a journey worth taking, one that leads to healing, connection, and ultimately, a more profound sense of peace. Embrace this path and let your strength shine as a beacon for others who may find themselves in the storm. You are capable of rising above, of learning from your pain, and of becoming a source of light in a world that often feels dark. Trust in your ability to walk this path of self-mastery, and you will not only transform your own life, but inspire others to do the same. Shifting your focus. As we shift our focus from anger to understanding, we begin to see the world through a new lens. Imagine you are in a crowded room full of people who have their own stories, their own battles. Each face tells a tale that you cannot see, but it shapes who they are. When you feel wronged, it is easy to forget this. You may narrow your vision to only your own pain, like a spotlight on a stage, blinding you to the bigger picture. Now, picture stepping back from that spotlight. You widen your gaze and begin to notice the struggles of others. You realize that hurt often comes from a place of suffering. Perhaps those who have wronged you are themselves wounded. They may lash out, not because of you, but because they are trapped in their own pain. Understanding this does not excuse their behavior, but it allows you to respond differently. In the heat of the moment, when emotions surge and frustrations rise, your first instinct may be to fight back. The desire for revenge is a natural response. You feel justified in your pain, and the urge to lash out can be overwhelming. But when you shift your focus from retaliation to understanding, you create a space for healing. You begin to unravel the grip of anger and, in doing so, reclaim your power. Think of a situation in your life where you felt wronged. Perhaps a friend betrayed you or a colleague undermined your efforts. Now, instead of focusing solely on how you could get back at them, consider how you might respond with grace. What if you chose to express your feelings openly instead? This shift in focus can lead to meaningful dialogue and possibly even reconciliation. It can open the door to a deeper understanding of both yourself and the other person. This is not to say that it is easy. In fact, it can feel counterintuitive. You might worry that showing understanding will make you appear weak, but true strength is not found in revenge. It is found in restraint. It is in choosing to respond with compassion, even when it is difficult. Imagine walking through a forest. You come across a thorny bush. Your instinct might be to push through it, hoping to reach the other side quickly. But as you do, the thorns scratch your skin, leaving you hurt and bleeding. Now consider taking a moment to find a different path around the bush. This way, you avoid unnecessary pain. In life, the thorny bushes represent conflicts and hurtful situations. Instead of barreling through, take a moment to assess your path. Shift your focus from immediate reaction to thoughtful response. When you choose to rise above hurt, you are basically saying that you will not allow others to dictate your emotions. It is about taking control of your reaction and choosing a course that reflects your values. You become the captain of your own ship, navigating the waters of life with intention. Throughout this process, it can be powerful to connect with others who have walked similar paths. Sharing your experiences can create a sense of community. It reminds you that you are not alone in your struggles. You may find that others have faced similar challenges. Their stories can inspire you and provide insight into your own journey. The next time you feel the urge to respond with anger or resentment, take a moment, pause and reflect. What would you gain from revenge? Would it truly bring you peace, or would it only deepen the wound? As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wisely stated, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. This principle can guide your actions. It encourages you to rise above and not to let the actions of others define who you are. Let's take a moment here. If you find these reflections helpful, consider subscribing to this channel. It is a small way to continue this journey together, exploring the depths of Stoic philosophy and its application in our everyday lives. Returning to our main theme, shifting your focus allows for healing. Picture healing as a gentle stream flowing through a valley. When you are consumed by anger and revenge, it is like trying to block that stream. The water builds and builds until it finds a way around the obstacle, often causing flooding and chaos in the process. But when you allow the stream to flow, it can nourish the land around it. It can create life and support growth. This is what happens when you shift your focus from revenge to understanding. You nourish your soul. You allow yourself to grow and thrive beyond the hurt. This does not mean you should suppress your feelings or ignore your pain. Acknowledge it, feel it, and then let it go. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only harms you. Instead, practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend who is hurting. If a dear friend came to you sharing their pain, would you tell them to seek revenge, or would you encourage them to find peace within? Be that friend to yourself. Another important aspect of this practice is patience. Self-mastery is not achieved overnight. It takes time and consistent effort. There will be moments when you slip back into the old patterns of anger and revenge. When this happens, acknowledge it without judgment. Return to your breath and remind yourself of your intention. Every time you choose understanding over revenge, you take a step forward on this path. Seek out practices that help you cultivate this shift in focus. Mindfulness and meditation can be powerful tools. They allow you to create space between your feelings and your actions. You learn to observe your emotions without automatically reacting. Journaling can also provide clarity. Write about your feelings and reflect on your choices. This could reveal patterns and insights that fuel your personal growth. As you become more aware of your reactions, you will find that the desire for revenge loses its grip. You begin to feel lighter, more at ease within yourself. You start to appreciate the beauty in choosing a different path. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, overlooking a vast ocean. The waves crash against the rocks below. They roar and retreat only to come back again. You can choose to jump into the waves, but the water is cold and tumultuous. Instead, you can stand back and observe the beauty of the ocean. You find solace in its rhythm, knowing it will continue its dance regardless of your desire to control it. This is what self-mastery is like. It is about finding peace in the chaos. As we conclude this chapter on shifting your focus, remember this: your power lies not in seeking revenge, but in your ability to respond with understanding. Allow this to become a guiding principle in your life. When you feel challenged, take a moment to breathe. Reflect on your choices and commit to rising above the hurt. This commitment to self-mastery is a journey, one that can illuminate your path and inspire others in their own struggles. Embrace the strength found in understanding. You have the power to transform your pain into growth. Let your journey be a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As you walk this path, you will discover that true peace comes not from revenge, but from the grace of understanding and the courage to rise above. Choosing higher ground. Choosing higher ground is not just about the choices we make in the face of conflict. It is about the character we build as we navigate through these challenges. When someone hurts us, it is easy to sink into feelings of anger, resentment, and the desire for revenge. It is a natural response. However, as we explore this path of self-mastery, we begin to realize that revenge does not lead to true satisfaction or peace. Instead, it often traps us in a cycle of negativity that weighs us down. Imagine a time when you felt wronged. Maybe it was a harsh word from a friend or a betrayal from someone you trusted. In that moment, your instinct may have been to lash out, to make them feel the pain they caused you. But what would that achieve? Would it heal your wounds? Would it restore the trust that was broken? More often than not, the answer is no. Revenge is like pouring salt on an open wound. It prolongs the suffering. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and emperor, reminds us that we have the power to control our responses. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This strength comes when we choose to respond with wisdom, instead of allowing anger to dictate our actions. Let's take a deeper look at what it means to choose a higher ground. When you feel anger swelling inside you, take a moment, pause, breathe. Acknowledge your feelings, but do not let them control you. You can be angry, but you do not have to act on that anger. This is where self-mastery begins. The space between emotion and action is where you find your power. Picture a tree standing firm in a storm. The strong winds may sway its branches, but the roots run deep into the earth. This tree does not need to fight against the wind. It stands tall and allows nature to pass. Likewise, when we face hurt, we can choose to stand firm in our values and respond with understanding and grace. Practicing empathy can be a powerful tool in this process. When someone wrongs you, try to understand their perspective. What might have led them to act in such a way? This does not excuse their behavior, but it allows you to see them as human, imperfect, just like you. This shift in perspective can often soften the anger and replace it with compassion. Think of a moment in your life when you have made a mistake. Perhaps you have said something hurtful in a moment of frustration. How would you feel if someone responded with rage rather than understanding? We are all navigating the complexities of life, and sometimes we stumble. Recognizing our shared humanity can create a bond, even in moments of conflict. Now, let's consider what it means to truly rise above the hurt. This journey is not about ignoring your feelings or pretending that pain does not exist. Instead, it is about acknowledging that pain and choosing to respond in a way that aligns with your values. It is about finding the strength to rise above the hurt and focus on your growth. When we focus on revenge, we often lose sight of our path. We become entangled in a web of negativity that distracts us from our goals. Instead, we can choose to channel that energy into self-improvement. Use the pain as fuel for your growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Take, for example, a situation where you may have been overlooked for a promotion at work. It is easy to feel angry and resentful, perhaps even plotting how to undermine your colleague who got the position. But what if instead you chose to use this experience to reflect on your own skills? What if you took that time to invest in yourself? Consider how you might expand your knowledge or seek feedback from mentors. This choice not only helps you grow, but also removes the bitterness from your heart. You start to embrace a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. You realize that one setback does not define your worth or potential. As we move forward, let us remember the words of Epictetus, who said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the essence of choosing higher ground. It is about owning our reactions and deciding that we will not be defined by the actions of others. In moments of hurt, reflect on your values. What type of person do you want to be? When you anchor yourself to your values, the desire for revenge loses its power. You begin to see that your true strength lies in your response, not in retaliation. Let's take a moment to visualize this shift. Picture yourself in a tense situation. Perhaps you are confronted by someone who has wronged you. You feel the heat rising in your chest, the urge to retaliate surging within you. Now, instead of reacting, you take a deep breath. You remember your values and choose to respond with calmness. You say, "I understand that emotions are high right now. Let's take a step back and talk this through." This moment of grace has shifted the energy of the interaction. You have chosen to rise above the hurt. You have taken control of the narrative. Remember that choosing higher ground often comes with its own challenges. It takes practice and patience. You will not always succeed. But each time you choose understanding over revenge, you build a stronger foundation for yourself. You learn that your happiness is not tied to the actions of others. It is rooted in your ability to choose your response. As you continue on this journey, let it be about evolving into the best version of yourself. The desire for revenge can be a heavy burden. It can cloud your vision and prevent you from seeing life's beauty. But when you choose to focus on growth, you open yourself to new possibilities. Your journey of self-mastery is deeply personal. No one else can walk it for you. Embrace the lessons you learn along the way. Each challenge will add to your strength. Each moment of grace will deepen your character. Let these thoughts echo in your mind as you face the next challenge. The next time someone hurts you, pause and reflect. Will you choose to respond with understanding? Will you rise above the pain? In the end, the best revenge is not about hurting the one who hurt you. It is about becoming the person you are meant to be. It is about standing firm in your values and choosing a path of growth. This is true strength. This is what it means to choose higher ground. As we conclude this chapter, carry these reflections with you. Let them guide you when faced with conflict. Remember that in your hands lies the power to transform pain into strength, anger into understanding. Rise above, and you will inspire others to do the same. Living respectfully forward. Living respectfully forward means embracing the power of your thoughts and actions, even when faced with hurt. When someone inflicts pain upon you, the natural instinct is to respond in kind. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking revenge, to feel justified in wanting to hurt those who have hurt you. But what if, instead, you chose a different path? What if you embraced the idea that the best revenge is to be unlike the one who hurt you? Imagine a moment of hurt. Perhaps it is a painful comment from a colleague, a betrayal from a friend, or an unfair criticism. In these moments, the mind races with a desire for retaliation. Yet what if you paused for just a moment? Picture yourself taking a deep breath, letting the emotions settle. You have the power to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When you choose to respond with understanding, you shift the energy. You create space for dialogue instead of conflict. It is in this space that you can rise above the pain, reclaim your narrative, and embody the person you aspire to be. This is the essence of living respectfully forward. Living respectfully forward does not mean ignoring your feelings. It means acknowledging them and then choosing how to act. The Stoics teach us the importance of self-control. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the only thing we truly control is our mind and how we interpret events. Emotions can be powerful, but they do not have to dictate our responses. Each time you face a hurt, reflect on your values. What do you stand for? Is it kindness, fairness, integrity? When you align your actions with your core values, you begin to build a life grounded in respect, not simply for others, but for yourself as well. By doing so, you create a shield against the pain inflicted by others. Consider this: when you choose to retaliate, you become entangled in a cycle of negativity. Hurt begets hurt. However, when you choose understanding, you break that cycle. You step onto a path of growth, one that invites healing for both yourself and, potentially, the one who wronged you. Reflect on the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean you condone their actions, nor does it mean you forget what happened. Instead, it is a gift you give to yourself. It is an act of choosing peace over turmoil. When you forgive, you free yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. You take control of your narrative. This journey is not easy, and it is not a one-time choice. It requires practice and patience. You may stumble along the way. There will be moments when the desire for revenge feels overwhelming. But with each conscious choice to rise above, you build resilience. You strengthen your ability to respond with grace rather than react with vengeance. Let us consider a practical example. Imagine you are in a heated argument with someone close to you. The words exchanged are sharp, cutting deep into the emotions of both parties. In that moment, you have two choices: to mirror their anger or to take a step back. If you choose to mirror their anger, the situation will escalate. But if you choose to respond with calmness, you may diffuse the tension. You might say, "I see that we are both upset. Let's take a moment to breathe and come back to this." By making this choice, you not only show respect for yourself, but also for the other person. You are refusing to engage in a cycle of hurt. Instead, you create a space for understanding where respect can flourish. Living respectfully forward means embodying your values in each interaction. It is about maintaining your integrity, even when faced with challenges. Each choice you make is a testament to who you are becoming. You are not defined by the pain inflicted upon you, but by how you choose to respond to it. As you navigate your relationships, remember that the journey of self-mastery is deeply personal. No one else can walk it for you. You will encounter various challenges, but each one is an opportunity for growth. Embrace the lessons that come with each situation. When you feel stuck in anger or resentment, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself what you truly want. Do you want to be free from this pain, or do you want to hold on to anger? The choice is yours. Choosing growth means letting go of the desire for revenge. It means focusing instead on becoming the best version of yourself. Sometimes the best way to honor your pain is to use it as fuel for your evolution. Let it guide you toward greater wisdom, compassion, and understanding. You can turn your experiences into strengths. This is the transformative power of living respectfully forward. It is also important to recognize the impact of your actions on others. When you rise above, you inspire those around you. Your choice to respond with grace can encourage others to do the same. It creates a ripple effect that extends beyond your immediate situation. For instance, when you choose to forgive, it may inspire someone else to forgive as well. When you respond with understanding, it may encourage others to engage in respectful communication. You have the power to create a more compassionate environment through your own choices. Remember that this journey is not about perfection. It is about progress. Each moment presents a new opportunity to practice kindness, understanding, and respect, both for yourself and for others. Embrace each lesson and allow it to shape your character. As you continue to live respectfully forward, carry these reflections with you. Let them guide you when faced with conflict or hurt. When you encounter pain, pause and reflect. Will you choose understanding over revenge? Will you rise above the wound? In the end, the best revenge is not about hurting those who have hurt you. It is about becoming the person you are meant to be. It is about standing firm in your values and choosing a path of growth. This is true strength. This is the essence of living respectfully forward. So take a moment to breathe. The next time you feel the urge for vengeance, remember this choice you have. Embrace the journey of self-mastery and let it lead you toward a life filled with meaning and respect. You have the power to turn pain into strength, anger into understanding. Rise above, and you will inspire others to do the same. Each step you take on this path is another step towards a life that reflects your true values. Live respectfully forward and let your actions speak of your strength. The freedom of forgiveness. You are standing at a crossroads where the wounds of the past meet the potential of the present. It is here, in this moment, that you have the chance to choose the path of forgiveness. This choice is not just an act of kindness toward others, it is a gift you give to yourself. Forgiveness frees you from the burden of pain and resentment. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a grievance, an injustice you have faced. Over time, this weight becomes too much to bear. You find it difficult to move forward, and your spirit feels heavy. Now picture yourself pausing to open that backpack. You begin to take out the stones one by one. Each stone represents a moment of hurt, a memory of betrayal. As you remove them, you feel lighter, more alive. This is the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean you condone what happened or forget the wrongs committed against you. It does not mean you excuse the behavior of others. Rather, it is a conscious decision to release the grip that anger and resentment have over you. By choosing forgiveness, you reclaim your power. You allow yourself to heal and grow. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote about the importance of forgiveness in his meditations. He reminded himself that people act according to their understanding and beliefs. When someone wrongs you, it is often a reflection of their own struggles, rather than a commentary on your worth. By recognizing this, you can begin to separate their actions from your identity. You are not defined by what has been done to you. Consider the story of a woman named Sarah. For years, she carried the pain of betrayal from a close friend. This friend had spread rumors damaging Sarah's reputation. Sarah felt hurt, angry, and betrayed. She thought about revenge, dreaming of confronting her friend and making her feel the same pain. But every time she entertained these thoughts, she only felt more trapped in her anger. One day, Sarah decided to seek guidance. She met with a mentor who encouraged her to reflect on her feelings. Instead of focusing on revenge, her mentor suggested she think about forgiveness. It was a difficult concept for Sarah. How could she forgive someone who had caused her so much pain? But as she sat with the idea, Sarah began to understand. Forgiveness was less about her friend and more about her own peace. She imagined the heavy backpack again and realized how much she wanted to lighten her load. She chose to forgive, not because her friend deserved it, but because she needed it for herself. As Sarah let go of her anger, she felt a significant shift within her. She was no longer tied to the past. Forgiveness did not mean she would reconcile with her friend or forget the pain. Instead, it allowed her to break free from the cycle of hurt and resentment. She chose to focus on her growth instead. Forgiveness is about reclaiming your narrative. You are the author of your life. No one else gets to write your story. When you let go of the desire for revenge, you create space for healing and growth. It opens the door to new possibilities. It allows you to invest your energy where it truly matters, in your values, your goals, and your relationships. Let us remember that forgiveness is also a practice, one that requires patience and intention. It does not happen overnight. It is a gradual unfolding, much like the blooming of a flower. You may need to revisit your feelings multiple times. Each time you do, you cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and your emotions. You can try this simple exercise. When you feel the weight of anger rise within you, take a moment to pause. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, imagine inhaling calm and exhaling tension. Feel the anger soften with each breath. Now, think of the person who has hurt you. Acknowledge your pain. Let it wash over you. Recognize the feelings that arise. But as you do, remind yourself that holding on to this anger only harms you. Repeat to yourself, I choose to forgive. I choose to let go. This practice takes time, but with each repetition, you'll find it easier to release the need for revenge. You are not denying your feelings or pretending that nothing happened. You are simply choosing not to be defined by them. Forgiveness is also connected to compassion. When we begin to understand that everyone carries their battles, it becomes easier to forgive. Every person acts from their own pain, ignorance, or fear. In the words of Epictetus, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your choice to forgive is a reaction rooted in strength, not weakness. As you walk this path, be mindful of your thoughts. Notice when you slip into wanting to blame or lash out. Remind yourself that this is a normal reaction, but acknowledge that you have the power to choose how you respond. In this journey, remember you are not alone. Many have walked this path before you. Look at the stories of those who chose forgiveness in the face of betrayal and hurt. They will inspire you. They will remind you that it is possible to rise above, to reclaim your peace and joy. As you forgive, you may also find a surprising gift: empathy. When you see others through the lens of understanding, your ability to connect deepens. You realize that everyone experiences pain. This shared humanity allows you to cultivate kindness, not just towards others, but towards yourself as well. In the end, the freedom of forgiveness is an act of self-mastery. It is the ability to rise above your circumstances and embrace a life filled with meaning. The moments of hurt may become lessons that shape your character, but they do not define you. As you let go of anger, you create room for love, compassion, and understanding. Allow yourself to be a beacon of peace in a world that often feels chaotic. The best revenge is not to harm those who have hurt you, but to become the person you are meant to be. So as you reflect on your journey, remember the power of choice. You have the ability to choose forgiveness over vengeance, understanding over anger. Each decision you make shapes the path ahead. You can walk a road filled with light, not darkness, and in doing so, inspire others to follow. Take a moment now to breathe deeply and acknowledge the strength within you. Embrace the freedom that comes with forgiveness and let it guide you toward a life rich with purpose and connection. Carry these reflections with you and let them inspire your actions. You have the power to create a life defined by your values, not your hurts. Forgive, and in doing so, find the freedom you seek. This is your journey, your life, and you hold the pen. Write it with grace, compassion, and strength.